We are going live. Oh, we are live. Perfect, 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 perfect. Here we are. There's the mallet in all of its splendid glory. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Um, yeah, we're gonna talk about. Oh, I've got a cowboy hat on. This is the first day ever. Uh, well, maybe not ever, but at least in a long time that I have worn a cowboy hat for work all day, which I do every day. But then today, I accidentally kept wearing that cowboy hat until just now. So, welcome, welcome. Let's get. We are currently plugged in. What? We are currently plugged in now. And let's bring this over here. Yeah. So, life is crazy. Life is good. Um, I've been feeling really good lately. We have been doing all sorts of crazy things. I don't remember how much I told you about the Big Bend trip, but it was awesome, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it because we're drawing stuff that kind of reminds me of it. That's the main reason. And also, it's definitely the most fun wilderness experience we've had since we've lived here in Texas. So there's that. But and I love you and stuff, and so I want to talk to you and tell you all the things. So, uh, yeah, got a lot going on all the time. Uh, I'm working like crazy. I shouldn't say like crazy. I'm not putting in like insane hours or anything. I'm not doing any overtime. But yeah, although we are looking at having to change our lifestyle pretty drastically here in maybe the next couple months, depending on how some things go with house shopping. But yeah. Uh, so Big Ben, we did some off-roading or some trail hopping. It wasn't really off-roading, I guess, because it was a road. It just wasn't a very well maintained road. And yeah, so and then we also did, and we found out that one of the local pastors here, just one town over in Joshua, is a pretty big. Well, he's a big band connoisseur of sorts. So he's apparently been going to Big Ben basically his whole life, and so he knew a lot of stuff, which was really cool. It was cool to hang out with him. And then uh, we also, I don't know what I was gonna say, but I do know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. That's the thing. The things you say don't matter nearly as much in life as the things you do, generally speaking. And either you do those things or you don't do those things. And sometimes they're related to the things you say, but often they're really not. And that's okay. It's okay to do more than you say you're going to do, or to do better than you predict. Honestly, it's okay to not make any predictions. That's my philosophy. I don't like to make predictions at all, of any kind. I'd rather just do my best and see what happens. I have found a new home for the Honda Accord, but it's going to take some time to kind of bring that to life, it turns out. So, and by that I mean um, they're willing to accept it and store it for us, but they've got to make some room for it first, and they don't have that room yet, that available spot, which I thought they did, but I guess they don't. So hopefully they will this week. But Hey, Carol. How you doing? Do people ever call you Carol? I don't even know. But I just did, and it is shorter, so it would be convenient. Maybe people call you Lee. Do people call you Lee? I don't know. Either way, um, it'd be easier than calling you Carol Lee, which is what I've done so far. Which is fine. Don't get me wrong. Uh, Whatever your name is what your name is, and that's it's all good by me. I don't really care. But my brother used to have this. They do call me Carol sometimes. Do you mind if I call you Carol? Makes me think of The Walking Dead. One of my favorite characters in The Walking Dead was Carol. Also, my grandmother, one of my favorite grandmothers, was named Carol. So um, there's that too. Oh, we got a couple that are just not straight right in a row. That's weird. I'm doing some. I'm gonna do some cross hatching around the lettering to kind of bring some boldness to and some contrast to the lettering, which is gonna be slow going. It's gonna be tedious, and uh, yeah, that's that's what it's gonna be. So I got plenty of time to talk today, although it will require quite a bit of concentration, as cross hatching often does. But that's who I'm named after. My favorite grandma too. Oh wow, I that's cool. I didn't know that you were named after her, but that's awesome. Wait, is that her whole name? Is she Carol Lee as well? I didn't know that. That would be a new thing I learned. I read part of her. Um, I guess it wasn't her obituary. What's it called? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. I read the story thing that like I don't remember what it's called at her funeral. And I also and I'm not certain that that's her name, but no, it's a mixture of grandma's name and grandpa's middle name. Oh, that's cool. That's really uh, interesting to mix the first name and the middle name. Is his middle name something Lee? I guess I don't know Grandpa Gerald's middle name. I know his first name. I know his last name. Obviously, I know his last name. I not know his middle name. Leroy. Oh, okay. Leroy is one of my favorite names. I love Leroy. Leroy is a great name. Yeah. 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 Hey, mom. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't remember where it was that I left off when I was telling the Big Ben story last week and what all we got to see and do. We got to use our big tent, which was awesome. So thank you to the family members who gave to that. I don't remember if you guys did or not, but you don't mind being called Carol or Lee. That's kind of cool. It's always cool when you have more than one option. Um, Very cool. I I'll probably call you Carol because I think that's easier to remember. But oops. Um, All in all, it was a really fun trip. Really cool. Got to see Ocotillo, which is um, a weird cactus-like thing that I just realized maybe I should put one on here. I don't really have a spot where it could work. There's really nowhere in the foreground with room for an Ocotillo in it. Um, oh, actually, I stand corrected. I found a perfect spot over here. We have we have a bear over here, which gives us a little bit of weight on this side. We have nothing on this side, so maybe I'll balance it out a little bit by putting an Ocotillo over here, or at least my representation of an Ocotillo. Because as we know, I can't put a real Ocotillo there, obviously. It's a really cool plant. It's kind of like a cactus, but it's not. What an annoying thing to say, but it is. It's kind of like a cactus, um, and they're really cool. And I had never seen them before until we went to Big Bend, and then we saw them constantly, which was pretty cool. I'm gonna do two of them, I think. We'll do one little one that's kind of like in the background, and then we'll do one that's closer up where you can kind of see it. But Ocotillo are really cool. They're not necessarily all that big, but they kind of seem big because they're the biggest thing out in the flat parts of the desert. And because they're such a drastically different shape than everything else, uh, it makes them really stand out and pop. And for us, being there right after the rain, uh, they were they were blooming, which was really cool. And yeah, seeing them bloom was awesome. And they're just so unique. They look like they're from another world. They look like an alien species of plant, is what they look like, and it's pretty cool to see. Um, yeah, you'll see in a second. They kind of look like coral, but they're above ground, and that's or above water. They're not down in water, obviously. So and but being as they look like they're some kind of coral makes them really stand out and look kind of weird in the desert. So I think looking weird is its own kind of magic, and they quite certainly do have their uh, an aura of magicness to them. I would say, which makes them a pretty cool plant. Oh yeah, that actually looks really good. We're gonna do a couple more dots like this, but this looks really good. I'm thinking this is promising. There we go. That's what an ocotillo looks like. And they'll get to like, I mean, we saw some that were well taller than a story tall, um, and they looked really special. But that's what an ocotillo is like. I'm gonna do a little bit more kind of tracing or whatever over here. I'm doing it basically just to build a line where the hatching will start and finish. But yeah, really unique, very unique plants in multiple ways. But yeah, they're really cool. Really cool. And there it is, Big Bend, represented the on the mallet itself. So yeah, and obviously, like a lot of desert plants, I shouldn't say obviously, but like a lot of desert plants, they react really strongly to um, new rains and all. And one of the things that's interesting about them too is that because they're so iconic and unique and special, there's a lot of oh man, that's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of people. I don't know how to spell it. I guess I think it's OC. I think it's spelled with a C, not a K. But closer to that last spelling, mom. Uh, and yeah, they're really weird. I don't remember what I was about to say about them. But yeah, bright orange blooms is most of the color that we saw. They do come in different colors of blooms. So a lot of times they're known for their bright red blooms, or yellow. But most of the ones we saw were orange, which kind of makes sense. It's somewhere between red and yellow. And they're just really special because they really do look like nothing else I've ever seen. Um, and I don't say that lightly. I've seen a lot of things, so It's pretty rare that I come across stuff that really does look like a brand new, totally different thing. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but it's also, it's true. I rarely get surprised by new things that I haven't seen before. But they're very cool. They're very, very cool. And they were all over, and they're like something, I don't know why, but something about the way they grow, they're very much spread out. So you have them like just like dotting the countryside instead of like they're not like in groups or like in groves or anything like that. They just, hey mom, Karen, Carol's mom. Uh, the they just like they're spread out, which is cool. So you really get to see each individual plant really clearly. But the wilderness of Big Bend is really, really awesome. I think it's cool anytime that you can really get some big distance between you and the nearest other people. There's something special about that. Um, and Big Bend is so far the part of Texas that can provide the most of that feeling, um, of the different places we've been, anyway. So, and we'll go to more places and hopefully find that wilderness feeling more often. It's a feeling that honestly I hadn't experienced a whole lot until we moved to Idaho. Um, but it's a feeling that I do find very satisfying. Just the knowledge that there's no one else around. There's no one else that you know you can't like depend on anybody else. You really just need to be responsible and be thoughtful, and that's there's something cool about that feeling. So there's something that feels free about that feeling. Let's put it that way. Like it feels like a type of freedom that is much bigger and stronger and more real than most of the other kinds of freedom that we experience in normal day-to-day life. Um, and it's like a kind of freedom that I think only the wilderness can really provide. And yeah, which I think is cool, and I think maybe even necessary for developing strong, healthy people. You know, the stars were better down there than anywhere we've been so far here in Texas. I would say they were um, definitely they were comparable to what it was like in Idaho where we lived. Um, I don't like that I have to go that far. We don't have to. I'm sure we could find it sooner than that or closer than that. The feeling of not breathing the same air as crowds of people. Yeah, yeah, totally. Uh, and breathing in air that came directly from the plant, not mixed with other people between you and the plant. Here's the hatching we're doing right now. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Breathing air that is entirely your own. I mean, not entirely, but at least it seems that way in whatever sense we have any in tuneness with it. But ooh, so hot. There's so much hot air that comes off of this thing. Sometimes, like at certain angles, I can just feel all of the hot air coming off of it, right there on my knuckles. That's good. So we had something crazy and surprising and expected and a big blessing happen this week. So we went and looked at a house. Um, the owner of the house had died, and their children were having to go through all of their stuff, which I'm sure you guys know is a really awful experience. Having to go through a loved one's things. It's In their case, it was awful because they had no connection to these things and were just trying to find ways to get. It was just so much stuff. It was an overwhelming amount of stuff. So they were able to pull out the things that they had sentimental attachment to relatively easily, but then there was so much more than that of just random stuff that these people owned. And so they felt really overwhelmed about it. Probably still do. And uh, and they had really wanted to be able to sell it to us because they thought it would be, well, they like us. That's the truth. But also financially, they weren't really in a position to do owner finance or anything like that. And we can't get a loan as big as what they're selling for it. And even if we could, the bank would be willing to give it to us because we got pre-approved for 250,000. But the reality is that 250,000 is way beyond what we can reasonably expect to be able to make. Um, Way beyond our means. That would be living way beyond our means. But the thing that it is they had a bunch of tools, and none of them uh, are handy folks that use tools and like to make things or do things with their hands. And so they were like, "What on earth are we supposed to do with all these tools?" Now, my mom, you would be like, "Well, swap shop it, sell it," and you'd be very much right. However, for some people, that's a lot of trouble to have to go through just to get rid of something. And so instead, they were just looking for any way to get rid of it. They were going to throw away a whole bunch of it and stuff. And so they heard while I was looking around the house, overheard me say, like talking about the tools and like recognizing what they were and what they were useful for, and like mentioning some of the projects that I would use them for if I had them. And so they gave us a call and they were like, "Hey, we know you can't afford the house right now, uh, but if there's any of our tools that you would like to have, you're certainly welcome to have them. Just come over and get them." And so that's what we did. We went through their tools and picked out a bunch of things that we wanted. Now, we couldn't get everything that we wanted because we don't have space for everything that we saw. Uh, but if we get the right house, we will. So, there may still be a future in which we get some more of the things. But we did get a lot of really cool stuff. I'm really excited about. The thing I'm the most excited about that we got is um, a power washer. And it's a type of power washer that I have used quite extensively before. So I already know how to use it. I already know how to even fix a few different types of problems depending on how serious they are. So hopefully we can get that thing running, which would be awesome. Um, so there's that. I'm really excited about that. That's by far the thing I'm the most excited about. I'd love to be able to like go power wash other people's houses for money. That'd be really satisfying. Also, being able to clean our own stuff, would also be really satisfying. So, power washing is just really fun, and also a service that people are willing to pay you money for. Um, so, any extra money we can make right now is probably going to be good. And then um, the other thing was we also got some different saws because the reality is for our um, for the wedding we got some drills and stuff like that, but we didn't end up getting any saws, so I still don't have a skill saw or really any kind of non-hand saw except for um, a grinder and a I thought I got one, but now I don't remember where it is, so maybe I didn't. But I was thinking I did get a um, sawzall, but maybe not because it's not in here. I don't see it, but I did. So um, I got. I didn't get. I still didn't get a skill saw from them, which would have been that's the saw I most want. And but I did get a handheld jigsaw and a table jigsaw. Both of those super cool. I have not used jigsaws basically ever, so it'll be a totally new tool for me to work with. Assuming that they work, which I have not tested them yet. We just got them, and yesterday was, as you know, Halloween, and so I have. We were busy. We were doing. There's a festival around here called Starfest that's on Halloween night, and it was fun. You get to see all the kids dressed up, and instead of going trick or treating, they're going from car to car, getting stuff. Um, uh, kind of like a trunk or treat sort of event. Um, you know what that is. But yeah, it's a fun little festival, and I got to drive one of the vehicles that drives kids around and makes them giggle and laugh and all that jazz. So very fun Halloween. Probably one of my all-time favorite Halloweens that I've ever experienced. Uh, and driving through crowds and crowds of people of the festival definitely did remind me of Wasteland Weekend, where one of the funnest things to do is drive through the crowds and crowds of people. So there's always that. And then, yeah, that was really fun. Oh, I think it's starting to look a lot better. Look at that. Levy and stuff. Starting to look a bit better. And then, well, I was telling you something before that, wasn't I? Where was I? Oh, I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, so we got two different kinds of jigsaws. One of the things that they had there that I wished I could have gotten was they had a lathe, and that would have been awesome. But I don't have any space for it really until I get some kind of shop. Like if we can get a house, um, then we'll do that. But we don't have a house yet, so we can't. We don't have room for a lathe. That's for sure. So, but yeah, so that was really cool. There was a whole bunch of different stuff. We got some cool blankets and stuff too, and yeah, excited about that. Happy with it. There we go. Look at that. That's kind of coming together. You can see there's that appeal again. There's the bear. Well, that was a long, thick burn. Look at that. Oh yeah, I like that. And that's one you might be able to see on camera. Let's see how well you can see me doing these hatches in this section. Hope I don't mess it up this time. There we go. This thing about cross hatching is just a few lines at a time. Just keep going. Sometimes when I'm cross hatching, it feels like it's taking forever. Um, and that's because after each individual hatch, it's not a big difference. It's not until you've done a whole bunch of them that you start to see what the actual product looks like. So it requires some. You kind of just gotta trust your hands. Is really what it comes down to. Getting into a long-term trusting relationship with the artistic nature of your own hands. Uh, People ask me all sorts of questions, and the answer to most of the artistic questions in life are just the answer is practice. The answer is just practice. That's all there is to it. That hatch didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it. Oh, sorry, that the other side. Hatch doesn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to, but I still think it looks pretty good. So that's the best you can really hope for. Can't realistically expect it to turn out exactly the way you want, but you can at least hope that it looks good. So it's funny how like I keep thinking that I'm almost done, and then every time I get back onto this thing, I look at it fresh, uh, like each week. I mean, I get on here and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got so much more left to do on this thing. Like that. It's like every time I look at it, I think of new things, or I can see new problems with it that I need to try and fix. And it's just like you just keep going until you feel like the most important problems are solved. That's really what it comes down to. You go until you feel like the most important problems are solved. So, and that I'll be honest, that does not really solve the most important problems. I like the way this part looks, but both sides do not look done yet. Nope, nope, not done. I think what I'm going to do differently is to the sides. I mean, is I'm going to add some more hatching. Add more hatching until it looks good, until it looks satisfactory. That's the plan. Yeah, and sure enough, one more layer of hatching looks slightly better. So, who'd have guessed? Uh, who would have guessed? I'd love for all of the matching to match, or the hatching, I mean, to match, but that's not the way my hands work. So, and by match, I mean like things that are at a similar angle are actually at the same angle, so that you have like some consistency over the course of the whole picture. But in reality, that's an expectation that um, only can be met under predictable circumstances that I've practiced many times. And so with this new medium, it's really not a realistic expectation of myself. So instead, we're gonna learn to enjoy the uncertainty, and we're going to make crosshatches that are not perfectly certain, crosshatches that do not perfectly match. I've never had so much trouble with the smoke in my face, in my eyes before, but I'm definitely feeling it today. I wonder what the difference is. I don't know. But I am experiencing the difference, whatever the difference is. You are so steady. Yeah. Well, it goes back to breathing. It's all about breathing. Breathe steady, be steady. To be clear, I don't actually have like a philosophy of breathing, but I do think that that's where it comes from. There's some sort of connection there. It's funny because in most things in life, I am not considered a very steady person. But but here we are. Here we are. Doing some of the not most things in life. And I do look forward if we get this one house, I will I will I will at least temporarily have a wood shop. So that'll be really cool. I'll have a workshop for the vehicles, and I'll also have a workshop for woodworking. And so we'll get to do a lot more cool stuff like this. Although, like I've said before, not in this format. But yeah, I'm excited. This is cool. This is coming across. I think it's really coming together really well. Like looking at this on camera, I mean, it looks really amazing. In person, it looks good in person too, but it looks even better on camera, if I'm being honest. So I really like it. We are doing good. We are on track to make something really cool, I think. So there it is in all of its glory. I've already used it for a few random projects here and there, wood projects. I hung an axe maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it's 3 weeks ago, and this came in handy because you need a wooden mallet to do that, or at least to do it well. So, all right, Erica's a board meeting. Y'all are having a good time. So go ahead, give me a thumbs up. You guys are both still here, right? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and yeah, thank you. And then hit that bell for notifications on the YouTube channel. And stay well, y'all. Stay well. I'll see you same time, same place next week. That's the plan, anyway. So, but I think we'll be able to stay on schedule for the rest of the year, probably at this rate. So, yeah, that's the plan. I'll see you when I see you next week.